And we'll call Assemblymember Donnelly, number 5, and highway exit signs, AB 223. Assemblymember, you have the floor. You may present your bill.
Thank you, Senator and Senators. Today I'm presenting AB 223 on behalf of the town of Truckee. It's a small town up in my district. This is a district bill. AB 223 will restore a freeway logo sign to Interstate 80 that were taken down several years ago when Highway 267 bypass was completed. Current law does not allow logo signs in areas with population greater than 5,000. Truckee is slightly above that at 16,000, which exceeds the definition of rural. This will not make the lines shorter at the DMV. It will make the lines shorter, though, in Reno, where the people are going, if they stop in Truckee and actually spend their money, if we can get them to come to my town. The signs were taken down. It's a simple bill. We're just trying to let people know. Truckee is also the town is 50 square miles, so it's very large. So it doesn't look like a town, so we need to let people know there's a town there before they leave the state and actually spend some money. I would encourage an aye vote. It did pass out of the Assembly unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Witnesses in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members, David Jones on behalf of the town of Truckee. The Assembly member has done a very good job at describing the bill, and I'd like to thank the consultant also for making the arguments that we have made for the town. We think it's a very good bill. It is unique, as mentioned. It's surrounded by national forests, so driving on the freeway, you can't naturally see some of the businesses that are there. It has no opportunity for billboards because it's totally surrounded for miles with national forests, so we don't have that option. So we saw a significant loss of business when the logo signs came down. Some hotels saw a 20% drop, and so we'd asked to have this bill passed and let us make our case before Caltrans to get the bill signed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Question, any opposition from this, for this bill? Seeing none, questions from our committee? Senator McGuire, Senator Gaines, and Senator Wachowski.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chair. I do appreciate the Assembly member for bringing this forward. I think if we take a look at where the economic recovery has been, we've seen the economic recovery much more robustly in urban areas in California. And the need to be able to have travelers take those critical exits to visit rural California is important. And I got to say, that 5,000 number is arbitrary. And you take a look at a community of 16,000 that is completely dependent on tourism to be able to get those folks off the road. Really appreciate that in your advocacy for the district, and obviously would be very beneficial for the north coast of California as well. So I do appreciate you bringing this forward, Mr. Suleiman. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Gaines.
Yeah,
Senator Gaines. Excuse me.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to thank Senator Donnelly for bringing this forward. And it's critical, I think, throughout rural California. And as my colleague was saying, the number is arbitrary. And I had the pleasure of having dinner at Cafe Beeza in Truckee on Saturday night. And the only reason I found it was because my brother-in-law told me about it. So, you know, if the sign was there, I would have known it.
Awesome. You need to get the sign up.
Okay. Senator Wachowski.
So the staff report is concerned with this proliferation of signs. As we've seen, there's a lot of rural areas want to go in, and one of the reasons that we limit the signs is the distraction for the drivers. Can you talk about why you don't believe this will lead to proliferation, or if you do believe it leads to proliferation, why that's good?
Well, I don't think there's a problem with proliferation in this area. I served 16 years on the Board of Supervisors, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes you get so many signs you don't see any of them because there's just too many signs. But in this case, with the federal forest surrounding the town, with the town being so wide, and the signs were there originally until they put the bypass in. So we're just trying to reestablish the signs that were there. But I don't think that's going to be the case in this situation. And the law says 5,000. And so there's 16,000. That's what excluded us from being able to put the signs back up that were originally there.
Okay. Other questions? Would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on this bill. We recommend in favor of it. There's a motion. Call the roll, please.
The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Cannella? Allen? Bates?
Aye.
Bates, aye. Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire.
Aye.
McGuire, I. Mendoza.
Aye.
Mendoza, I. Roth. Roth, I. Wykowski. Wykowski, I.
That's 9 votes, and we'll wait for other members to vote. Thank you very much. Assemblyman Frazier is here, I think. And we'll take his bill next, item 6. We're going in file order, and that's AB 235. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Good afternoon. AB 235 requires that a provisional driver's license remain in effect until the driver reaches the age of 18. Under California current law, graduated driver licensing requirements, a minor who is at least 16 may be granted a provisional driver's license, which remains in effect for 1 year. The GDL is a system designed to protect young novice drivers by giving them more time to gain driving experience prior to a full licensure. One of the key safety elements of the GDL is that minors with a provisional license are prohibited from driving during the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., or from transporting passengers who are under the 28 years of age. In 1995, prior to the widespread introduction of the GDL in the U.S., drivers aged 16 to 17 had a fatal crash involvement rate of 37 per 100,000 population. In 2010, drivers aged 16 to 17 had a fatal crash involvement rate of 13 per 100,000 population, representing a 57% decrease in fatalities. It is clear that GDL has been effective in reducing young novice driver crash rates and associated injuries and premature death to themselves and others. However, there remains a significant teenage driver safety problem, and additional work is needed to further reduce deaths and injuries for this vulnerable population. As I had in my district 2 days ago, a 16-year-old dying from speed-related injuries. Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of deaths for teenagers in the United States, accounting for nearly a third of all deaths of 16 through 19-year-olds. In addition, teenage drivers have the highest rate of involvement in crashes that result in the death of other people, such as their passengers, pedestrians, or drivers and passengers in other vehicles. From 2000 to 2009, 81,000 people have been killed in crashes involving teenage drivers, a number equivalent to 540 plane crashes. AB 235 is a reasonable measure that will help save lives by ensuring that all minors who drive must operate under these safety restrictions. As a father who lost a child in a car accident, I implore you to support this bill. And this bill is also sponsored by the Allstate Insurance Company, and testifying on behalf of Allstate is Theo Pejos. I ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Chairman, members, Theo Pejos, representing Allstate. There's really not much more to add to any of that, other than to say when we first embarked on this a couple years ago, we looked at the data, and what we found is California is better than a lot of states in terms of its graduated driver's licensing program. But there was one very obvious hole, and that was 17-year-olds. Right now, the graduate driver license law is for a year. So you get your provisional driver's license if some teenager is really on it, so that it doesn't happen quite as much as it used to when I was a teenager, and gets their license at 16. By the time they're 17, they're fully licensed. What the data shows, much of it already pointed out by the chairman, is that all these fatalities and all these numbers still ring true with 17-year-olds. So we want to just plug that gap in what we believe is a very reasonable way. And so what it says, it's very simple, is when you get your provisional driver's license, whether you're 16, 16 and a half, 17, 17 and a half, or 17 and 3/4, it's active until you're 18, at which time you can apply for a full licensure. So real simple, small extension on current law. We believe it'll have big results in terms of saving teenage lives, and we ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses, please. Go ahead.
My name is Emily Canterbury. I'm here on behalf of Knutson and Associates, who represents the Auto Club of Southern California, and we support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Corey Salzillo here on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association. For the reasons previously stated, we support the bill. Thank you.
Okay, other witnesses, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Maria Garcia with Greenberg-Torrig on behalf of State Farm Insurance in support.
Shireen Walter with the California State PTA, the Parent Teacher Association, and we're in support of this bill.
Any other witnesses? How about opposition? Is there opposition or concerns about this bill? I see none. Do we have any questions on our committee? We have a motion on this bill. Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you. I think one thing the two chairs of the legislative transportation committees have is we both lost family members in auto accidents. So I support this.
The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Canella. Allen?
Aye.
Allen, I. Bates?
No.
Bates, no. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? McGuire, I. Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Roth? Roth, I. Wachowski? Wachowski, I. So that's 9 to 1.
We have 9 votes in favor, 1 against. That'll be on call for other members to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Assemblymember Gonzalez, you finally have a chance to present your bill. I know she's been waiting a long time. So I'll call you forward, and this is AB 349, Common Interest Developments. You have the floor. It's urgency.
Yes.
It's an urgency bill.
Thank
So
you.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman and Senators. AB 349 is just a common sense bill. As we all know, we're in the 4th year of a historic drought with no end in sight. In April, Governor Brown ordered a 25% statewide reduction in urban water consumption. In addition, Governor Brown ordered that California take out 50 million square feet of lawns to conserve water. Yet homeowners associations are still forcing their homeowners to maintain grass lawns and fining them if they are out of HOA compliance, and still penalizing homeowners who replace their lush, water-intensive lawns with attractive, well-designed landscaping centered around artificial grass. AB 349 ensures that they have the right to alter the landscaping on the residential property to better conserve water by replacing grass with artificial turf. Homeowners who pursue conservation should be recognized and encouraged, not sued or fined. Because residential landscaping accounts for 35% of urban water usage statewide, allowing homeowners the freedom to use conservation-friendly landscaping will be one important ingredient in reaching our mandatory water reduction goals. With me in support to testify is Glenn Farrell from the San Diego County Water Authority and Dr. Alan Gross, a HOA homeowner from Thousand Oaks.
Okay, yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Alan Gross, and I'm here with my wife at our own expense from Southern California, and we appreciate the chairman and the committee members' opportunity to participate and learn about the legislative process. We are homeowners in a large homeowners association in Southern California, and we purchased the house with a full knowledge that we had an HOA, that the HOA was supposed to work with us and to maintain common areas and work in concert with us. Nothing could be further from the truth. About a year and a half ago, we embarked upon a green project to not only get solar, but also get rid of the water usage. We had 22,000 square feet of sod in our property, and we're using 5,000 gallons of water a day. So we submitted a plan to the HOA asking for artificial grass, and they immediately turned us down. After much negotiation, they finally said you could put it in the side yard and you could put it in the backyard, but you couldn't put it in the front yard. We asked them why. They said they didn't have paperwork, so we gave them the legal documentation. They still wouldn't approve it. Then they gave us some mumbo jumbo about the percolation issues, and we asked them, is it suddenly more problematic in the front yard rather than the side yard? Percolates the same in the front and the side. In any event, our homeowner association is totally silent on the issue. We went ahead and ripped out all of our grass. We ripped out our sprinkler system, got a rebate from Metropolitan Water, and now we're down to 700 to 50 to 800 gallons a day. In the middle of that, we're now in the middle of threats from our homeowner association for litigation, and they want us to replace the grass that was removed with another grass. Their guidelines are to maintain continuity, and what's more in continuity than taking out 22,000 square feet of green grass and putting 22,000 square feet, an identical location of artificial grass, which is incredible quality. Basically, they said that they were not going to approve it because the HOA papers were silent. We asked them, even the United States Constitution is a living document. It's interpreted, and modifications in the laws have happened over the years. And they basically are using guidelines from 30 years ago and not even enforcing it properly. So basically what the problem is we have a threat of a lawsuit from the homeowner association. We have dirt in front of our house, which they approved, and now they want us to replace the grass. And basically we've saved 80% of our water, and we're sort of the spearhead of our community trying to reduce the water usage in our neighborhood. We feel like we're being punished for this, and we feel that this is an excellent way to maintain the continuity, have our lush green lawn without using so much water and allowing the water to be used for other purposes, farming, jobs, et cetera.
Thank you, sir. Other witnesses, please be brief.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members. Glenn Farrell, San Diego County Water Authority. Just want to underscore a point that Dr. Gross made in his testimony. This bill's about water savings. That's all it's about. You know, synthetic grass, conversion of conventional lawns to synthetic grass alone is not going to solve the drought crisis, but we find that replacement of an average-sized Southern California lawn with synthetic grass could save about 63,000 gallons a year. That's about 27% of average annual household water consumption saved through the single act alone. I also want to highlight a note that's made in the analysis, and I really want to underscore the point that this bill is carefully crafted to balance the water use efficiency and the water savings objectives with retaining discretion by the homeowners association over reasonable restrictions in terms of aesthetics and design standards. They retain that authority and discretion in the bill, and it's an important balance that's struck by the author. So I want to highlight that, and we encourage support of the bill.
Other witnesses, please.
Mr. Chairman and members, Dave Milton, California Association of Realtors, and for all the reasons stated by the previous witnesses, we very much support this bill.
Thank you.
Chair and members, Danielle Blassett with California Municipal Utilities Association. Our members, our water agency members, deliver water to over 70% of Californians, and we're in strong support of the bill.
Jonathan Clay on behalf of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, also in support.
Okay. Other witnesses, please come forward in favor of the bill.
Maria Garcia with Greenberg Traurig on behalf of the California Landscape Contractors Association in support.
Okay. Other supporters? Can we hear the other side? Opponents? Welcome. Come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Carrie Mazzoni for the educational community of homeowners. We oppose this bill. We believe that homeowners associations are in a position to make decisions best for that community in a democratic manner. We also feel that with the recent legislation that was signed into law by the governor relative to the drought and the use of low water use plants, that this has been addressed. And to the degree that we can accept it being addressed, we have concerns about potential health impacts to the community, as well as environmental impacts to the community and the greater community. And for those reasons, we would ask for your no vote on this bill. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Bell and members of the committee. I'm Skip Dahm, representing the Community Associations Institute, which is a national organization of thousands of homeowner associations nationwide and in California, of which there are 50,000 HOAs. Evidence of our commitment to conserving water are the 18 seminars, webinars, personal one-on-one sessions with water authorities around the state, articles and blogs. So we definitely want to conserve water. Who wouldn't? However, as the analysis correctly points out, if you don't get it the first time, try again and then try again. This issue has been vetoed twice by two different governors for various reasons, for more than one reason. I think there's a leapfrogging of logic going on here to say that we're going to save water by putting in artificial turf. And on the other hand, I don't think that's the correct answer given the existing hazards that may exist in the materials that are used, which hasn't been addressed in this particular committee. But beyond that, people bought into these communities because they like the ambiance, the aesthetics of it, the landscape of it, et cetera. And while the bill already prohibits an HOA from denying artificial turf,
The public policy of this committee should really preserve the local governance authority that were given to HOAs 30 years ago to decide on their own how they want their community to look. And therefore, in addition to the existing language in the bill that allows us to establish reasonable rules, we were very recently suggesting to the author that a do no harm amendment go into the bill. And the do no harm amendment is very simple, that if an owner wishes to replace his or her real lawn with fake lawn, that at least they do proceed to the architectural review committee of that HOA, given the fact that they cannot ban them, given the fact that they must establish reasonable standards for the installation. But failing to do that, failing to put that simple do no harm amendment into the bill means that we've already seen what will happen more and more as this bill tacitly endorses the installation of artificial turf. I guarantee you, out of the 9 million members, more and more of them will willy-nilly install this stuff without seeking approval and therefore violate themselves the very rules they signed up with when they purchased the property. So a do no harm amendment requiring folks to in fact go to the architectural review committee is reasonable and should be part and parcel of this measure.
Okay, thank you. Any other witnesses opposing? Questions? Senator Roth, Senator Wachowski.
So, just to the last speaker, what is it about the bill where it prohibits you from, I guess, prohibiting use of artificial turf that causes you to think that a homeowner would not have to go to the architectural committee if your homeowners association rules require architectural committee involvement and approval for any work of improvement outside of the structure?
A very good question, and the simple answer is they just will.
Well, of course, people violate rules all the time, but I mean, you're talking about suggesting an amendment to the bill. Why would the bill need to be amended? It seems to me that's an enforcement issue. Talk about local control.
Senator Roth, that is what this bill is about, is local control, and we're trying to eliminate the micromanagement of these communities. As the first witness in favor of the bill testified, he did go to their board or their architectural review committee. They refused him, so he put it in anyway. So there you have evidence using the supporter of the bill to show you that they're just going to do this. And I think that I don't think my members should necessarily think that because the bill prohibits an association from denying your right to put in artificial turf, that they may think, okay, we can do it. So this do no harm amendment does no harm, and yet it makes part and parcel a consistency in the law that was established in 1985.
We have a lot of questions here. Other senators, Senator Wachowski.
Ms. Gonzalez, it appears to me that your bill is more than just an AstroTurf bill, because in Section 2, you say that notwithstanding any other law, a provision governing documents, architectural, landscape guidelines, or policies shall be void or unenforceable if it does any of the following, and it prohibits or includes conditions that affect prohibiting the use of low-using plants or low water-using plants as a group and as a replacement. So this is in the intent, or your understanding that this is an encouragement statutorily of the drought message that the governor put in, but also are putting into statute the ability or a direction for homeowner associations as well as regular homeowners to put in these low water landscaping yards.
Well, absolutely. Actually, the bill that was referenced was the one I did last year with Senator Nielsen that would prohibit the HOAs from having folks replace with drought-resistant landscaping. After that was passed and signed by the governor, we got a flood of phone calls basically about the fact that artificial turf, although when I was running the bill, I thought, well, isn't artificial turf drought-resistant landscaping? But that we needed to, in fact, do an additional bill to ensure that artificial turf was also included in that. So this is, I think, in line with what the governor has been saying, the mandates that are being put on Californians across the state, whether they live in an HOA or not. And I think that we just want to ensure that property owners who are otherwise being very responsible, we would otherwise encourage this behavior, are not being penalized by an HOA.
Other questions, Senator Gaines, Senator McGuire, Senator Allen?
Yes.
A lot of questions there.
Senator Gonzalez, could I just get clarification in terms of,
Senator Wesso might be upset if you call me senator.
oh, excuse me, Assemblywoman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not
Thank
yet.
you. Okay. I'm just trying to get clarification in terms of the Design Review Committee.
Sure.
So is there still the ability, in the event that you want to change your landscaping, that would be approved through Design Review or Architectural Committee, whatever committee that might be in the HOA?
Whatever the document speaks to, right, the local document, whatever process they have. However, the regulations set up by the HOA cannot expressly or constructively prohibit. So they can't create a situation under which, and this has happened in the past, under which there would be no way to find an artificial turf that would somehow fit those guidelines, right? But that they'd have to allow for a process for artificial turf. But yes, if the guidelines, and we don't want to interfere with HOAs that don't have these requirements, right? So, but if an HOA individual guidelines requires you to go through that process, that would continue. They just could not have anything in that document that prohibits either expressly or constructively from the homeowner being able to find some sort of artificial turf that they could replace their lawn.
What about, there are some HOAs that use recycled water for their front yards, and I'm wondering how would that be addressed through this legislation?
It doesn't address that situation, nor did the drought-resistant landscaping bill.
Okay, all right, and that was addressed last year.
Yeah. The governor signed it.
Senator McGuire and Senator Galgiani and Senator Allen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, Assemblywoman. Nice to see you, and thank you for the presentation. Had the opportunity to live the dream on an HOA board for 10 years. Some good times there, and particularly when it came to issues.
Popular.
Oh, hey, there we go. Especially when it came to paint color and landscape.
Right.
So would like to be able to take a deeper dive on that, and because this would not prohibit an HOA to be able to regulate the condition of what the artificial turf may be, or in a few years may turn out to be, correct?
Exactly.
So, for example, I know what we had, our individuals, right, would take their definition of a well-cared front yard would be in what others may be two different things. But if there were rules and regulations within the CC&Rs that deemed specific areas of an artificial turf, you need to be able to list the variables, didn't stand up to what the CC&Rs where they wanted them to go, right, for the condition of turf, that would not prohibit an HOA from mandating a change out of that artificial turf.
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure. Just to clarify, you are not saying that an HOA should choose one form or another, drought resistant over artificial turf, simply allowing for the option. And if there is an individual, and if it fits within the CC&Rs, that they are able to use the artificial turf option.
Yeah, that a homeowner shall have both options.
Correct.
And so somehow in their governing documents, they have to allow for both options. Obviously, right now, I think with some of the executive orders, a homeowner has the right to not water their lawn at all, even in an HOA.
Exactly.
And so this, in fact, is more protective of kind of the look of an HOA, and it allows responsible homeowners some options that we would all deem a little more responsible than a lush green grass.
Because I think that's the other piece, and where you just went is the concern, right, of in this drought, folks simply aren't watering their lawns. So you have and I think that artificial turf have come a long way, right, over the last decade, and frankly look a lot better than what my lawn used to before I took it out.
It looks a lot better than any lawn in my district right now.
Hey, there we go.
Or even historically, probably. But, you know, it absolutely, and I brought to the Assembly Committee a sample of the artificial turf. It is absolutely, if anyone hasn't seen it, not green carpet anymore.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the clarification. It's good to see you.
Senator Galgiani and Senator Allen and Senator Bates.
With all due respect to the opponents,
it may be that a governor has vetoed this bill in the past, but I think for me, the overriding issue this year is that we are in an emergency, and we're in the 4th year of a drought. And the first year of the drought, farmers in my district let 400,000 acres of farmland go fallow, and that meant that families who've had businesses for generations went out of business. Workers lost their jobs. And now in year 4, I have Mountain House in my community, which is not the first community to be threatened with having no water. And we're not talking about water for turf or grass. We're talking about no water even for drinking or bathing or health and safety reasons. This happened last week. It was national news, and again, it won't be the first community. We've luckily made an arrangement with South San Joaquin Irrigation District so that in lieu of Byron Bethany Irrigation District providing water to Mountain House community, these 47,000 residents can get water on an emergency basis negotiated with the state and with the water district. If that had not have happened, they would have gotten an allocation of about 50 gallons a day for health and safety reasons under an emergency. 50 gallons a day, that doesn't even give 2 people in a household a bath, let alone the ability to water their turf. So with that in mind, with all of the farmland that's gone fallow and with communities at risk, I'm supporting the bill. I asked to be a co-author, and it's a different day. I respect all of the issues that you bring up, and that would have had meaning for me 4 years ago, but I can't swallow that this year in the drought.
All right. Senator Allen.
I just have I think I know the answer to this, but I have a clarifying, I know we've touched about this a little bit, but I'm having trouble with the language on page 3 of the analysis where it talks about Governor Brown's veto message, which, with regards to SB 759, which according to the analysis contained identical language as this bill. The veto message said, the decision about choosing synthetic turf instead of natural vegetation should be left to individual homeowners associations, not mandated by state law. Now, it's my understanding that your bill does not mandate the use of synthetic turf, but that it instead protects the decision of individual homeowners who, yes, may be members of a homeowners association, but nonetheless, it's the decision of the individual homeowner to utilize synthetic turf if they want to. Why is it that if this bill is exactly identical to the SB 759, how does that square with the governor's language on the veto message?
It's a good question, and I think a better, and from our perspective, is the language he used when vetoing that bill could have been used on our bill last year about drought-resistant landscape. In fact, the same rationale. But what he said last year is times have changed, exactly what Senator Galgiani just said. We're living in a different world than we were in 2011. It just is a different world. And I think that all of his policies that have been put forth are clear. He's been very aggressive on this. He's mandated restrictions about, water use. And so in working with the staff of his office, which we've been in close contact with, we even went so far as adding the urgency clause because we think that this is timely. We don't have any indication that he doesn't believe things have changed. So, I think sometimes he changes his mind, and we saw that last year because his rationale was the exact same on drought-resistant landscape, and he signed that bill.
Okay, and I think what you're saying makes total sense. But let me, just so I completely understand, I'm very much inclined to support the bill for all the reasons stated by my colleague. I guess we're allowed to say Galgiani in committee. On committee, we're allowed to refer to each other by name. But just so. Is it your understanding as well, some of the folks who are here for opposition, that this bill does not mandate the choice of synthetic turf? It gives it to the individual homeowners, and then, so I understand it's taking away a right of HOAs to be more restrictive in terms of the decisions of the individual homeowners. But do you also agree that this does not mandate the use of synthetic turf?
Yeah, we understand it does not mandate the use of it.
And I understand it does not mandate utilization of plastic grass, no. But what's next? Rocks? I mean,
or drought-resistant planting.
Those are existing alternatives right now.
Well, that may well be next, for
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we may be heading there given the drought concerns that are out there.
I think veto to the urgency declaration that the governor had on April, relative to our crisis that we have in the state of California. So this bill is an urgency measure that addresses a specific issue that deals specifically with the crisis, and that's the intent, I think, and it's very clear. Senator Bates, you had a question.
Yes, mine goes to what Mr. Don was saying regarding the architectural guidelines and how those might interact with this.
Okay.
We have in our HOA palettes for landscaping and for house color, and I'm assuming that on the basis of what's here in the actual wording of the bill, that homeowner associations would not be prohibited with creating a palette of acceptable kind of turf. So you're not getting something that is, you know, let's say a 2000 version as compared to what we have out there now and what is, you know, being marketed and advertised quite broadly, actually. And I know my homeowners association does not prohibit that. I'm not sure how many HOAs are currently in the current generation actually prohibiting the innovative drought-tolerant plants. I've seen them in my area, in my district, everywhere, including on my street. So I think, I'm not sure this is as restrictive and as threatening to local control as you feel it is, because they can still have discretion in the types of drought-tolerant or grass that would be acceptable in their association. I mean, I wanted to paint my house brown or beige. I mean, I had to go through pages of colors to get the right one that met their requirements, but I still got to paint it my beige. So I'm thinking I can pick my grass based on the palette that they would provide me, but I wouldn't be prohibited from putting it in. And I don't see them doing that, frankly. I've had many calls from HOAs, and you know where I live, we're HOA country. And they are looking for opportunities, and I know it should be local discretion. This moves them more quickly in that direction if there are areas that still are resistant to the new pallets that are out there in drought tolerant and in synthetic turf. So I'm inclined to support it.
I appreciate that. And in response to your good stewardship of your community and following the laws of that community, that's great. I'm just fearful that this bill would be a tacit endorsement of an untested product, and that it's a statutory endorsement of using this product, and therefore the do no harm amendment, if you're going to tell HOAs what they may not do, you might equally tell members what they should do, and that is go to their rules, go to their CCNRs, go to the Architectural Review Committee.
Okay, other questions?
Can I clarify
Senator
that?
Gaines,
Because
go ahead.
I got the
We have a
impression
motion on this bill.
from someone Gonzalez that if you have a committee set up, it would go through the committee. So it's not superseding that, is it?
It should go through the committee, but there's nothing in law that says go to your Architectural Review Committee, and all the HOAs have one. But, you know, they're volunteer run, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't always happen.
Okay, I still have a question on the recycle folks, because in my district, we have a community that recycles their water. So how do you address, and the care of the front yard is handled by the homeowners association. So how do you address that issue? Or what if someone wanted to put artificial turf on a project that was used with recycled water?
That would obviously have to be dealt with locally. The only thing we're saying is there could be no prohibition against artificial turf, so there would have to be some sort of accommodation made. We actually, this is the first time hearing of this situation, but it is definitely, we still have enough local control here where it has to be dealt with locally. We can't mandate in these specific circumstances how it's dealt with. We're just saying you can't prohibit it.
Is that something that you would consider in terms of clarifying in your language for recycled water?
I'd always work to clarify, but I'm not sure how to handle that. So if you have some suggestions, I'd be happy to look at those with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have a motion on this. Any more questions? Seeing none. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote and
Good
my
discussion.
grass back, please.
Okay.
I
She wants
just
her
really
grass
like
back.
it.
Give that grass back to her.
Oh, yeah.
Call the roll, please.
The motion is do pass and refer to the Committee on Judiciary. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella. Allen? Allen, I. Bates? Bates, I. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? McGuire, I. Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Roth? Roth, I. Wachowski? Wachowski, I.
Thank you.